Hi everyone, it's me, Emmy, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited because this is my first time talking and doing a voiceover for Speedpaint. I really wanted to experiment with voiceover versus music in Speedpaint because I know some people prefer one over the other, and I wanted to see what I liked. I mean, I talk to myself a lot, so why not record it? Because I'm sure there's probably some good, valuable information in there somewhere that might help someone or something. I don't know. But today I bring you a speed paint of a Bulbasaur chibi. I was really inspired from people on Instagram. I was looking, and they have Pokemon people that they do. And I'm no stranger to this. I've done this when I was younger, but just looking at everything, I was just like, wow, this looks so good. Like, I wonder what I could do. I wanted to practice my character creation and stuff like that. So I figured, how do I take this animal type being and change it to where it looks like a human and its features look like a human, but you can still tell what it is. Like, for instance, her hat or Bulbasaur's ears. Her dress is the leaves on its back, and the belt around it is like the vine whip that Bulbasaur uses. And then the pattern of Bulbasaur, it's like skin, I guess, is her hat and her socks, which I thought was a good way to incorporate it instead of just making her green and then giving her that tone on her skin, which I'm not opposed to that because I'll probably do that later on, but just for like the first one, I wanted to see what I could do and also play with the colors a bit, because when you have a different skin tone and hair, you have to see what works with Bulbasaur's actual colors, which is challenging in itself, especially when you're not very adept at color theory or really know exactly what you're doing, but you just kind of go with it. So I did that here. Oh gosh, okay. So here's this leaf dress. I'm not very good at doing textures and fabrics, or honestly much of anything. So this leaf dress, I don't really know what leaves look like per se. Like, I don't know how to draw them. I guess I should say I know what they look like. I have leaves outside. But I should look up a reference, which I didn't, but I think the shading redeemed it a little bit, but next time I definitely want to look up some references and think about how the dress would actually work. As for colors, which I was talking about earlier, like, it wasn't hard to get the colors from Bulbasaur for the main stuff, but then when it came to the skin and the hair, it was more challenging because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I went with a darker skin tone because I figured a lot of Bulbasaur's colors were a bit more like pastel and lighter, so I kind of wanted to keep her a little bit darker for the contrast. And then for the hair, oof, honestly, I did not know what to do, so I just picked a random color, which is this green, and looking back at it, it looks like Christmassy. Like, they're just too opposing next to each other. It's not cute. But I do end up changing it later to a better color, like a blue, which you'll see. So, I mean, all in all, not too bad for colors, I'd say. The shading I did on her, so I wanted to keep it soft and rendered, so more like a painterly feel. So I did that, but I added a little bit of the cell shading, like under her hair, under her neck, under her skirt, so you could tell it's still like darker and it's pieces of hair and stuff. Give it just more of a 3D look to it, I guess, instead of just being flat 2D. Shading is rough, but it's honestly one of my favorite parts of art. These lips were not working for me. I probably could have pulled it off with just the bottom lip, but it looked weird, so I just said, forget about it, whatever, this doesn't need it. Oh, and then I wanted to make the lines colored because it made it more softer, I thought, instead of so harsh with the black, which I use black outlines sometimes, I don't mind, but I've been really enjoying colored lines as of late. I don't know. I think they just look more, I don't know, fun. Take a little bit extra work, especially because my layers are not set up properly, but that's okay. Shading this this skirt bottom was actually pretty fun. I really enjoy doing like hair, so this kind of reminded me of hair, honestly, and how I shade hair. Certain fabrics, like skirts, I'm not bad at. I kind of get a grasp on how that goes, but this top was a whole nother story. Oh, I don't know how leaves work, so I don't. I should have to reference. I'm a buffoon, but that's fine. I think the shading helped it a bit. Next time I'll look for a reference because it was a hot mess disaster, as you can see. But I mean, other than that, not too bad. It's whatever. Oh, and then I tried to like help it by adding a little bit more contrast by adding some darkness towards the bottom. Plus, I was trying to keep my light source towards the top of her head, so that's why like her legs are so dark under the skirt, and like the dress I made more gradiented, so it's like lighter at the top, darker at the bottom, like trying to keep a light source going here. These eyes were something else because Bulbasaur has these white pupils, which I don't really know how to do in my style. Usually I'm used to the black pupils are darker, so I could just go darker. So I was like, well, what should I do with this? And I decided to just do like dots in the eyes, just a bunch of dots, because it added texture, it added interest, I thought. And then after I did that, I added a little bit of shine, because I love shiny stuff. I just like making eyes especially shine. Oh jeez, this hat. Okay, back to me not knowing how fabrics look. I don't do well with fabric, so you'll have to give me a moment with the hat, because at this point I was like, oh yeah, that looks fine. It doesn't. I end up looking up a reference later, which you'll see, to actually help make it look like a hat. Because I originally didn't want it to be like a beanie, but that's what I ended up making it look like, and honestly really happy with how it turns out, which you'll get to watch my whole struggle here, because the struggle is real with this hat. I really was trying to make it work just by like sheer memory and how I thought a hat would look, but no, I really did try it. And then I finally looked up a reference. Look at her go. And I did this shading, and actually really happy with how it turned out. And I was really excited because I know this is so minor, but what I'm doing right here with the pattern, making it shifted so it looks like the hat is actually like the fabric is pulled over or something. I don't know. Little minor. Back to the hair, because that green was assaulting my pupils. I used this more like aqua-y blue color, turquoise. It was a really nice medium between the green on her dress and like the bluish green on her hat, and also bringing the legs color back up. I think it just helped everything stay in. And hair is my favorite thing to do, so I had a really fun time with this hair. I love shading hair. It's just, you can use so many colors and get too dark with the contrast, and then the light parts, and so shiny. Again, I love shiny, so hair is really fun for me. That's probably why I saved it for last, because it was the best. Well, no, I saved it for last because I didn't know what color to use. Let me not lie to you. But yeah, really happy with how the hair turned out. I think it makes it even look more Bulbasaur-y than she already did, which I'm really excited about. And then I am just touching up a little bit of things. The eye whites, her mouth, I missed a couple spots I think in there, and then adding a tongue type texture, which sounds really gross. And little shoes, and then to backgrounds. So I am not great at backgrounds, but that's okay. I really was trying to play around with colors again, and then I dragged it in the Clip Studio I use Paint Toolside mostly, but I figured maybe I could use the stamps in Clip Studio with the leaves or whatever. Fun fact, no, was not working for me. You'll see my struggle bus here. It's real. I even cut out some bits because it was so long. But then I was like, well, let's just make it simple. Her pattern is already pretty unique. Not unique. Pretty, what's the word? Like it's already enough. Like we don't need more leaves. She already has this pattern. So I just did the simple green square, and then I was deciding, do I want to do a white outline? Do I want to do this, or that? So I went with the white outline instead of just taking her and dragging it to the bottom right like a drop shadow. And this is the finished piece, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you all enjoyed. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Leave a like if you want. Let me know what you think. If you want more voiceovers, if you prefer music, I would love to know. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll have a great rest of your day. Bye!